Hey everyone, Christian here, and I'm going to do a little bit of a vlog on Satakentias and growing them up from a juvenile size and things you may experience when growing them up. So Satakentias seed is very small. The palm produces quite a number of seed per bract. I'd say it's in the couple thousand per bract. They're about the size of like a pumpkin seed. They're not that big, maybe even smaller than that. And they're also they're not viable for very long. So people tend to throw them all down at once, and you can grow them by hundreds, if not thousands, but they tend to have a lot of issues along the way. And so I'm going to discuss that now that this is in basically a 10-gallon, about a 10-gallon-ish grower bag. So this one's actually pretty healthy. It's pretty typical of these palms to kind of have the oldest leaves kind of look a little bit brown at this age, but you can see that the base is nice and healthy. It's kind of fattening up right here, and when it starts to trunk, the crown shaft will start to kind of bulge out even more. And the others here, we'll get to this one in a second, but the one I want to actually get to right here is right here, and that's this one here. And we've been trying to figure out what's going on with it, and I've kind of come to the conclusion. You can see that it has, first we'll talk about, it doesn't have a whole lot of roots going on. We kind of dug around and didn't see very much, and it is already, when you see a palm like this already starting to trunk, these little rings here, it means that it's stunting out. So a palm in this size bag shouldn't start to trunk at this age. So obviously we have a nice brown leaf here, and all the others have been chopped off because they were also brown. But the spear is, you want to check next, is the spear nice and healthy? Now it appears pretty healthy. You can see all the way down. The tips are kind of brown right there, kind of dried and brown. So making sure I'm not stepping in a fire anthill. And when I give it a tug on it, it's not giving. So it's not bud rot, it's not spear rot. And you can start, what you want to do is you want to start kind of peeling away, and this doesn't want to peel away. If it does, that's a sign that the outside of the crown is starting to rot. So the inside of the crown is not rotting, the outside of the crown is not rotting. You can push through, push here, see if there's any give right there. That's where the outside of the crown would be rotting. It would kind of start right here near the meristem. So the next thing to do is actually dig into the roots, and with it not having a lot of roots and it kind of being in a heavier soil, even though there are some bigger particles in there, there's a lot of fine particle matter there, peat moss, sand, which actually can hold quite a bit of water when you add it to other things. I believe that this has root rot. So usually brown leaves are some sort of fungus or rot. You can see the actual growth, the dried off fungal growth. I don't know if the sun is I'm blocking that, but basically the roots are rotting, and usually they're kind of like a gnarly whiter color. Now they're kind of just like a brittle blackish color going on. So digging into the roots, you can kind of see what's going on in the plant. And you want to start from the easier, you want to kind of rule out the easier things to kind of look at before you start digging into the plant. But unfortunately, we didn't find any solution there. And so Satakentias, this is not uncommon. I'd say at this age, 1 to 2 out of every 10 Satakentias are going to succumb to this. And that's why Satakentias are a little bit more expensive, because they do have to go through, when a planter plants out 10 and loses 1 or 2, they put a lot of time and effort into this, and as a result, the ones remaining are a little bit more, are going to be more expensive, as the ones that have died have cost them money. So whereas if once you plant out, say, a Washingtonia, 11 out of 10 are going to survive. So if you know what I mean. Same goes with coconuts. It's actually pretty hard for stuff like these coconuts to have an issue. So with root rot is something you can't see. It's kind of like the hidden killer. I mean, there's a lot of hidden things that can kill a palm, but the root rot is something that people tend not to think a whole lot about, especially if they don't think they're watering a whole lot. But with a heavier mix, these Satakentias, they come from a they come from limestone cliffs in off the southern islands of Japan, so they have great drainage where they're from. So the fact that they are in this soil, they do have to adapt some, and because this is the most readily available soil here in the U.S., you know, some of them are going to just not like it, and they're just going to have this issue, the weaker ones at least. So it's kind of a war of attrition in the end. Excuse me. But so the other one I want to talk about is over here, and this one's kind of in between. So this one here, you can see the base is not having an issue. It's not stunting out the base. The spears are not having an issue. They're not. This one is not frayed there. The new leaf looks good, but the outer fronds are starting to look bad. So this one may start maybe in the beginning process, beginning stage or two of having a root rot issue. When you start seeing the fronds, this is where you can kind of detect it. Start seeing brown tipping at the ends like this. You can start thinking, hey, you know, what's going on down beneath? Because it's, you know, if you start peeling these off, these don't want to really, I mean, this one is coming off a little bit, but it's not rotten or anything. There's nothing going on in the crown, and this one's not budging very much. But as the roots, if the roots start to rot, it will start to budge more and more as there's more give in it, as the roots, you know, are really kind of like entrenched in there. Satakentias are known for having some pretty aggressive roots. So there's kind of 3 stages of, you know, healthy, some issues, and also on its way out, possibly. So hopefully we can save that palm. And but I wanted to show everyone kind of what root rot can look like in a palm. And like I said, these palms are actually really well grown. Satakentias is known for having these issues. So anyway, so that's the 3 stages. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you guys are new to the channel, consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification. Do go live quite a bit. And if you have any questions about root rot and how to detect it in your palm, leave it down below, leave a comment down below, and I will get back to everyone as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.